Aquarius, hello. Welcome to Coffee, Sage, and Tarot. This is going to be your monthly reading for November 2025. We're going to take a look at what you should be letting go and embracing as we head into the month ahead. The theme of November and what aspects of that you can kind of keep an eye out for. And once everything is clarified here, we're going to go ahead and turn over a card here for some final thoughts. Anything else that Spirit has to say before we close your reading off, okay? The cards were pre-shuffled, but we're just going to go ahead and shuffle them a couple more times here as we ask what November has in store for Virgo. Thank you. Okay. All right. So let go. Death, right? Did Virgo have this as well? I feel like Virgo had death in the let go placement as well. We'll see how that clarifies for you, but it does feel like we're letting go of some things to allow change to come through. It feels like you're closing off some loops here in order for that change to take place and move you forward. Embrace, Page of Swords, some new thought here. So death is making way for some new perspective, a change in perspective, right? New knowledge has been gained and you're kind of sorting that out. How does that integrate into who you are and what it is that you're trying to attain? Theme, the High Priestess here, so that inner knowing, that idea that we can sense some things before we have the facts to back it up. So this definitely does feel like trusting yourself here, which leads me to think maybe there's some doubt or you're questioning yourself or you're hesitating in terms of letting that transformation fully kind of take form and take shape here. And the theme just with the High Priestess being like, let's just trust in the process. Knight of Cups in the shadow here with the Nine of Wands and the Seven of Cups and that Tower. Exhaustion, overabundance of choice, disruption here. Definitely some turmoil is what I'm seeing in the shadow here. And it could be your perception of that. Or, you're seeing it as more challenging than it needs to be, or maybe it is really that challenging. And that's kind of why you're hesitating to let this all unravel, but maybe you're afraid that it's going to unravel, but maybe you're afraid it's going to unravel if you allow this change to come through and take over. Everything you worked for is going to unravel, but you have to trust the process and trust in that knowing and trust that you're kind of, some things need to be broken down. Some structures need to be disrupted, right? That's how we can get to where we need to go. Sometimes we got to break some stuff, right? That's interesting. Okay, let's go ahead and see what this all means. Let's get some clarifiers here for Aquarius. Let's clarify that death for Aquarius, please. Let's clarify death. Thank you. clarify that Page of Swords for Aquarius, please. Let's clarify that Page of Swords for Aquarius. Thank you. Oh, too many. Let's clarify that Page of Swords for Aquarius, please. Thank you. Okay. And let's clarify that High Priestess, please. Okay. All right. Interesting board here. Interesting clarifiers. For Death here, we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, and that Page of Swords. It does feel like you're kind of seeing your doubts, your fears, maybe insecurities as they are. And it's been a struggle to get here to this point for whatever reason. I'm not saying it's a struggle to look at yourself and kind of critique yourself in this way that you seem to be doing it. For some of you, it can be that. I'm just saying it was difficult to get to this point. And kind of have this head-on confrontation. But now that you're here, you're seeing things as they are, and there is some new knowledge gained here, and it's just about how are we going to integrate this new knowledge, right? So showing up, yep, okay, I see this, I see it all, I see what's going on here, I understand that these are my doubts, or these are my weaknesses, or these are my kind of imperfections, or whatever. How are we going to navigate from here, right? Clear, concise, to the point. Taking all the, you know, all the indecision or, you know, lamenting out of this process here is what I will say, Aquarius. In terms of embracing here with that Page of Swords, right? We jump right in here to the Three of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, and that Wheel of Fortune. You had some success with something. It could be some minor success on something here. And we're moving on from that. I don't know. It feels so cut and dry. Yeah, it just feels so cut and dry here. What it is that we're embracing a new thing that's going to bring us success, and then that we're going to be on to the next thing. This feels like not necessarily an outcome or really a clarifier. This feels more like an expectation here, Aquarius, of what this new thought will bring, and what this kind of change, how this change will look, right? Because with the Knight of Pentacles, you're kind of observing your physical landscape here. You're observing your environment, your inconsistencies, your doubts, all of that, right? And you're saying, okay, so I'm going to do this, and then that's going to bring me success, and then that is going to close off this chapter, and we're going to be on to a new thing, right? You're planning. I'm seeing your plan here, right? And it feels very methodical. It feels very cut and dry, right? So it's great that you have a plan. You know, it is. I'm just wondering if first of all, if the plan's going to go accordingly. And what it's almost like you're, yeah, like, how I said, like, there's no lamenting about the process. It's almost like there's no, like, we're skipping over parts is kind of what it feels like here. And I'm wondering if we're skipping over parts because they have already happened, or if we're skipping over the parts that are just like, we don't care about the details, we're thinking like macro level here. It's kind of what I'm feeling, right? So you're grounded in this, you understand there's a level of practicality here. And it's almost like you're looking at this knowledge as like how it can help you, which is great, but are you, it's almost like you're, it's like using this new perspective, or this new outlook here as a tool to get to where you want to go, is kind of how I'm seeing this here and reading it. So it's yes, it's your plan. Either you're formulating your plan in November, or you have one and you're kind of ticking things off the list here of what needs to be done. And just kind of utilizing it in kind of everyday practice here, doing the things that need to get done until you get the success and check, big, cross that list off, time to make a new list kind of idea here. um yeah, yeah. that's that's what I'm seeing. So yeah, it's just, you're integrating this knowledge in a way that is practical and works for you. I'm just wondering if you're really taking the time to, like, you're integrating this knowledge, but kind of really taking the time to see the effects of how this is changing your environment or changing your surroundings, right? The theme here for the month of November, we do have that High Priestess, clarified by the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, the Six of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Yeah, this is kind of, so this feels very like logical. And this is where the emotional component is coming in here. And I'm wondering if the High Priestess is coming through and that water energy is coming through almost as a reminder, Aquarius, to say, like, while this feels very, like I said, methodical and almost machine like, robotic, I do this and then I do this and then I do this and then it's done. This is kind of the feeling bits, the feeling portion of the reading, to where are, how can we make sure that this is fully integrated into you, just not thinking of this as another tool, but seeing this as, you know, a part of who you are, a part of your identity, just integrating it kind of down in that deeper layer here of intuition, knowing what needs to be done here, feeling your way through things as opposed to always thinking your way out or denying, right? On the other side of that, kind of denying the aspect of intuition in favor of methodical thinking, strategic thinking here, right? I'm wondering if there's some sort of aspect of that, gut feeling, that inner knowing, that we can bring to the surface and incorporate a little bit more in the month of November, Aquarius. Seven of Pentacles reversed, right? We're no longer assessing here. It feels like that part that has been done, and so we're moving on into action, into doing. And it does feel like with the 6 to the 8, both of cups here, it feels like you have no problem giving, or maybe you do, but what I'm seeing here is that it's easier for you to give to others than it is to give to yourself. In terms of that tenderness, right? Um, Again, take it as it resonates. But it feels like it's much easier for you to be gentle with somebody that you love and respect and is part of your inner circle, then it is for you to do that for yourself. And I'm wondering if that is kind of coming up in some way, shape, or form for you this month. Eight of Cups here. Yeah, it just seems like we're not... I think back to what I said, like everything looks good on paper. But there's an aspect here, and it could be that it's too overwhelming or too confusing, right? Or the perception of it is that, to where we're just not really exploring on a deeper level or a deeper emotional level here, our connectivity. It's almost like the heart is removed as it relates to our personal story here. Eight of Cups, Five of Swords, the Sun in the shadow. Listen, you and the Six of Wands behind that. You are continuing to be successful. I'm not saying that you're not. I'm not saying that nothing is not going according to plan here. For sure, but there's some sort of, it does feel like there's some sort of personal conflict that is at play, and I feel like your energy is trying to tell me that it's not important. But I keep feeling the need to call attention to it. So it feels like it's important. It's just something that you're not fully, I feel like you don't want to hear it. And it's something that maybe you're skipping over at this time because you're so focused on your checklist and the practicality of it that you're not necessarily giving tenderness to yourself when maybe you do need it a little bit more than you realize. Okay. Let's go ahead and get some final thoughts here for you. And listen, you're showing up very successful here in whatever it is that you're doing. You're checking things off your list. You're integrating that knowledge into a way that is going to be useful for you. It just feels like there's a certain emotional component that is lacking that the universe is trying to call your attention to say this matters as well. Okay. Let's get some final thoughts on that Death card for Aquarius, please. Let's get some final thoughts on that Death card for Aquarius. Ace of Wands. That's fair. Where's the passion? Where's the passion indeed, right? I don't think there's a single wand on the board. Yeah. And maybe that's what's missing, right? We're doing all of these things out of a methodical need or desire. No, there's no desire on this board, so I can't say that. We're doing all of this out of a practical mindset, and you are elevating your stance or your position in whatever way as it relates to your life, right? You are elevating, you are advancing, okay? But yeah, where's the passion here? Where's the excitement, right? That's not, there's no excitement on this board here. Let's take a look at that Page of Wands for some final clarity here. Let's see that Page of Wands. And any final clarity. Any final clarity for that Page of Wands, please. Temperance in the reverse. Yeah. Again, right? Spirit is affirming here temperance in the reverse. There's no balance. This is very much one-sided, and you're still successful because Aquarius, it's you. But you know, where's the balance, right? Let's get some final thoughts for the High Priestess here. Eight of Swords. Yeah, you know, maybe, and Leo in the shadow there. Eight of Swords. This very much feels like a gray area for you, like a point of contention for you. And that's why it feels like we're trying to skip over it, which is all the more reason why universe and spirit is trying to bring it to the surface, right? Eight of Swords, that water, it just even the concept of cups being water and that water energy being a component in that sword energy here. The figure looks into the water and doesn't know, feels trapped, doesn't know what to do with that, how to, all it sees is trapped in pain, right? And that could be, how you feel about diving too deep into your emotions, or, kind of, perhaps you think you'll get lost. Perhaps it's too confusing. Perhaps it feels muddled. Perhaps it doesn't feel natural. You know, whatever it is, there's definitely some sort of tension and anxiety as it relates to your some aspect of emotional connections, either to yourself or to others or to both, to your intuition. Maybe you don't feel like you can trust your intuition, or maybe you feel intuition lies or methodical thinking or discernment, intellect outweighs instinct, right? Whatever the case is here, it feels like you're kind of feeling that kind of push and pull on the emotional aspect of your life as we head into November. Okay. And again, this is not to say, it doesn't look like anything is going wrong here. It just looks like we're moving from A to B to C to D and really not giving any acknowledgement to how we're feeling, maybe how others are feeling around us, even though you might be giving them a little bit of something. You're certainly, I'm not seeing giving it to yourself. And it could be even an afterthought, what it is that you're sharing with the people around you, right? From an emotional standpoint, because we're so focused on checking things off our list here. Okay. Yeah, let's flip over this card here, King of Pentacles. Yeah, you're focused on being successful, right? You're focused on the practical mindset, business mindset here. So it does feel like, the emotions are taking a back seat. Because you're busy, right? You got a long laundry list of things to do here, and you're busy. And maybe you're feeling like now is not the time to get too emotional, not the time to start digging up all of these different emotional things, dealing in feelings right now. You're like, now is not the time for feelings. It's time for doing. It's time for strategizing. It's time for setting us up. And so, maybe Aquarius, you feel justified that Temperance is showing up in the reverse. Maybe you're feeling justified that I need to be more practical in this moment because that's what it's called for, right? Even though there is an urging and a desire here, a longing almost. I feel like whether you realize it or not, there at an inherent level, your intuition is calling you. And it's on the board. You can't deny that, right? As much as you're trying to. Okay. And how you end up dealing with that, or ignoring it or not, or facing it or not, there's some feeling there. There's some tension and some anxiety there. And it's, the more you ignore anything, the louder it's going to shout, right? Passion. Where's the passion? Where's the beef? So yeah, I think you know what you're doing. I think you very much have your eye on the prize, but sometimes we gotta let love in and fill our heart a little bit while we're on our path, bringing success to our home. Anyway, Aquarius, this is what I have for you. Let me know what you're working so hard on, because it seems like you're really working at it, right? And really doing some great things here. So that's awesome. Always a pleasure reading for you, and thank you so much for stopping by. I wish you all the best today and always, and we'll see you next time. You take care.